Ah, the new German beer delivery system. Oh, whoa, a bit of decorum there, mate. I mean, look at the head on that. Do you want a flake with that? Who taught you how to pour beer? Yeah, okay, the tank does a great job, but what the hell? Learn how to pour beer.
Just interested in this question of how you engaged with Sir Tom's report. I was struck by the comment earlier about the press briefing that went out on the same day that his report went out. So is that a normal thing that your office would do, Mr. Mayor, when someone who you suspect or presume to be producing something critical of you, you put out a sort of a press briefing attacking them personally and their credibility?
I haven't seen the press briefing.
So the one that's on your desk next to you there that Sir Tom gave you earlier?
I can help the Mayor. There it is.
Yeah. I've not seen that.
You're not aware of that?
No.
So you're not aware of your office putting out a press briefing attacking Sir Tom?
No.
And Mr. Putin is saying that Russia has said that nuclear powers are on the brink of a direct armed conflict, and this follows on from yesterday when we were discussing American boots on the ground in Ukraine and how long is it going to be before an American gets accidentally killed during some sort of strike on a supply run or whatever.
Not long, I think.
No, I think it's going to be sooner rather than later, and then we're going to see an escalation, and probably initially it would go conventional, but then what happens, you know?
Freaking head up and look at me! Open those eyes!
Oh God! Ah! Blink!
Keep your hands away!
Wait, find a way!
Footwork!
Open your eyes! Open your eyes!
Oh, fuck!
It's just pain. Get through it.
You got it, you got it.
Guys, move the fuck on.
Alright, open them. I cannot see them. Open them as much as you can. I can't see your eyes, man.
By the way, blink and
You
open
gotta
your
fight
eyes.
through this.
Let's go.
Go!
Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly, since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control?
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
We've got some exclusive footage of Chinese President Xi Jinping being escorted to house arrest.
Hello and welcome everyone. Good to see you all. Ben, unfortunately, is incapacitated today and will not be joining us at this point. So, I'll turn my speakers off. And we'll get on with things. I think we'll start with the back gender reform that Alan Smith has apparently said to the SNP members, saying that if they don't back gender reform, then they should leave the party and stand as independent candidates. So that's quite interesting, isn't it? It's the SNP being the SNP again. You know, it's their way or it's the highway. There's no room for any kind of dissent within the SNP. It really is a autocratic, dictatorial organisation that has one sole purpose, and that sole purpose is Nicola Sturgeon. It's not independence, it's Nicola Sturgeon. Nicola Sturgeon's purpose is independence at any cost. But, you know, it's annoying. It really is annoying. The SNP are just, they're a complete bunch of non-entities as far as I'm concerned. They've destroyed Scotland. They've put in all these stupid rules. So they've really done us a disservice. Scotland's not the country it used to be. It's not somewhere that you really want to live if you can avoid it. And I don't know what the solution is. Anyway, welcome to this episode 195 of Chasing Dissent Live with me, John. That's all you got today, folks. Sorry.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave.
And moving on, let's start with the first slide of the day, which should be over here. As you can see, things don't run as slickly when Ben's not here, do they? Or do they? Anyway, OBS decided to play up, so I had to use my old frame, so we can see the ghost of Ben is below me. So maybe this might help then, with regard to the last conversation we just had 2 minutes ago. Nicola Sturgeon is said to be on the verge of quitting after a trans backlash. Now, I don't think it's a backlash from the people who are trans. I think it's a backlash about what's going on regarding her will she, won't she send people to prison? Or send people to appropriate prisons, or send appropriate people to appropriate prisons. So the whole thing is completely ridiculous. I cannot see Nicola Sturgeon resigning because her ego is just way too big for it. I think you'll need to force her out with, well, I don't know what you'd have to force her out with, but I really don't think she thinks she's ever done anything wrong, and she won't answer a question. She'll come back to you at a later date. You know, it's not really relevant. I don't have that information to hand right now. No. She just doesn't answer for everything, and I can't see her. I can't see her resigning, but I really hope she does. I really, really hope she does. So we'll see what happens then. She is a tartan Jacinda. She's probably worse than a tartan Jacinda, to be fair. She's just a horrible, horrible person. Yeah. So anyway, that's Nicola Sturgeon, Ur Nicky. Moving on. This is quite an interesting tweet from Spetsnaz, and it comes with a video from an Australian mercenary fighting in the Ukraine and describing his experience and knowledge on the Wagner forces. This is the Wagner battalion of the Russian. It's a semi-private army, isn't it? It's owned by some oligarch, and he's fighting on behalf of Russia. And it's always been reported that the troops have been kind of, pulled from prisons and recruited from ex-cons and things. So they're the scum of the scum. They're not really very well trained. They're not well equipped, and they're just being used as cannon fodder and thrown at Ukraine just to make up numbers. Well, this guy's telling a completely different story, and he alleges that, and he certainly sounds Australian when you listen to the video. If you want to go and seek out the video and watch it, it's well worth listening to. So he alleges that he's boots on the ground in Ukraine. He's fighting for Ukraine against Russia, and he said the Wagner battalion are incredibly well equipped. They've got Bluetooth tracking and drones coordinating their movements. They've got integrated artillery fire with their movements so as they don't get shelled by their own side. They have overwhelming amount of people compared to the Ukrainians. They've got fantastic organisation. They're well led, and they appear to be well trained and equipped, as opposed to the Ukrainians, which apparently don't even have night vision equipment. He said this guy, he's trying to teach the Ukrainians to fight at night. They don't even have simple night vision equipment. They're so poorly equipped. He says they're just getting ground up, and I do tend to believe him. So we'll see what happens. But I don't think I cannot countenance the fact that the defence of Ukraine continue every day to put forward, They put forward the death count of the Russians that they've killed, and it's a nonsense. It really is. It's a complete and utter nonsense. So you can be criminalised now for burning wood. So if you have a wood burner and the council catch you and you're in a zone where you're not allowed to burn wood, a zero emission zone or whatever you're called, they're going to give you a £300 fine and a criminal record if you flout the air pollution laws. So wood burning stoves are not for you if you live in such an area. This is despite the popularity of wood burning and the fact that it's something that we've traditionally done to keep warm forever. It's just, the world's just gone mad. I mean, it really has. And let's face it, burning wood's a carbon neutral activity. Because all you're doing is releasing the carbon that's locked up in the wood that took the carbon out the air to grow. So it really is a carbon neutral activity. So why the big problem? And apart from some pollution, but we're not getting the pea soupers that we used to. I don't know. It's the whole thing's just, it's crazy, isn't it? It's just crazy. It's just pathetic. Let's move on. This is Elon Musk. So this clown at the EU said he had an interesting and productive conversation with Elon Musk about following the DSA rules when that Twitter is committed to taking in Europe to comply with them, and Elon Musk replied saying he had a good conversation with him, and they're what they're looking for is an alignment with Twitter. Now, that immediately sends up a red flag to me, because if anything is an alignment with the EU, then I think something's going wrong somewhere, because the EU doesn't have anyone's interests in heart. Nobody's interest at heart apart from the EU. And when I say EU, I mean the people that are getting paid by the EU, not the people they represent, because they're not elected, are they? Well, most of them aren't elected. So yeah, if he goes down that route, it's not free speech, and you're right, Ben. It's definitely not free speech. It's a dangerous route to be going down, and I think Musk is going to end up caving. I don't think Twitter's going to be the free speech platform that he envisaged when he started this escapade into social media. I don't think it's quite going his way. I mean, we've got other things that are coming up about Musk as well, so we'll find out. In fact, one of the things, I think Ben was party to the conversation. I think it was Ian Miles Chung that started it, but we'll get there. So Harry Gray here. Harry Hamish Gray says, my daily commute involves a small stretch next to the motorway with just a painted line for protection. No, it doesn't, unless you're breaking the law, because cycles are not allowed on motorways. That's not a motorway. That line's not there to protect you. That line's there to demarcate the cycle lane. You're in the cycle lane. If you stray outside the cycle lane and get hit by a car, nothing's going to protect you, especially that helmet that you're not wearing. But apart from that, stop being such a ponce. I mean, do people not remember? I used to ride my bike in the 80s and, like, you didn't have cycle lanes, no such thing. Cars went everywhere at speed and poorly controlled and every third driver drunk. Try the 80s, mate, and see how long you last. Everybody's such a freaking Nancy these days. They really are. Yeah, you summed it up perfectly, Militant Mushroom. The other thing, why is it that cyclists are so annoying? You know, I mean, they put on their lycra or whatever, and they suddenly become, road rage reg. They're just like so annoying, and they've got a beef about everything, or they're running about with cameras filming people using phones stuck in traffic jams. And that's another thing. It's like, in fact, let's do this. Right, you can't use your phone when you're driving your car. No, that's not the case. You can't use your phone when you're sitting in your car if you've got the keys on you. So you can't use your phone in your car. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. What is the point of a law that says you can't use your phone when effectively no one can police it? I mean, if you're sitting in a traffic jam, the chances of you getting caught using your phone are infinitesimal small. Therefore, it's a stupid law that can't be enforced, and therefore there's no point in having it. Now, and this goes on to one of the rants I had earlier on. I think it was on Monday. Well, why are we making so many laws? Why are we making so many stupid laws that nobody can enforce? The whole thing's ridiculous. I mean, who cares if someone's sitting on their phone in a traffic jam where they're not moving? Yeah, if they're moving, fair enough. But if they're not moving, I don't. Are you allowed to put your phone in a container? You're not allowed to put your phone in a container and touch it. So when does a phone become a sat nav? And when does a sat nav not become a phone? Or you're not allowed to touch a sat nav either. Does that mean you can't change the radio when you're driving your car? Because a lot of that's touchscreen now, isn't it? And your phone could be connected to your radio. So is your radio your phone? See what I mean? The whole thing's a mishmash of nonsense. Absolutely crazy. These people need to get a life. They really need to get an absolute life. So UNICEF are saying that pornography doesn't harm children, which I find a bit strange, especially if children were involved in it. But however, I don't think it's appropriate for children to be exposed to that kind of thing at any age, really. I mean, wait until they're adults at least. And this comes onto the idea of children getting adultized younger and younger, aren't they? I mean, you've got kids at 12 getting pregnant and things like that. I mean, how? I didn't even think about sex at that age. So UNICEF, which is supposed to be looking out for kids, says pornography doesn't really harm children. And then we have this chap, who the world's largest children's charity founder has been arrested for raping children in Nepal. Okay, so he's been arrested. He had 2 kids that were taken from him, taken from his custody, and he has been charged with raping them. And he's what? He's a top United Nations advisor. So maybe we can figure out where the information about pornography not harming kids is coming from. maybe. It does seem to be that there is an incredible amount of these kind of people in positions of authority. Now, the question is, do they end up in positions of authority, or, and then become like that by being corrupted? Or are they corrupt and end up in positions of authority because they're so corrupt and you have the dirt on them that you can control them? It's a can of worms, isn't it, people? It is a can of worms. So we're not quite sure where we're going. And here we have a tweet from Craig Campbell, one of our followers. Thank you, Craig. So apparently, being sarcastic, I'm sunk. I've had 6 eggs today. And I'm sarcastic. So being sarcastic puts you at greater risk of heart attack, doctors warn. Sarcastic patients are more likely to die young. Okay, I don't think I'm young anymore, but research reveals experts found heart attack victims with gloomy outlooks saw long-term effects. Well, there you go. And moving on straight away, video games could trigger heart attacks in children. No. Young people with undiagnosed cardiac issues most at risk if they get too excited playing games. Well, how are you supposed to find out if they're at risk or not? Because they've got an undiagnosed cardiac issue. Now, these things do happen, right? But it seems to me that there's an awful lot of stuff in the media about problems that are going to affect kids when we've never really had this before. Coincidence? Perhaps. Reading may cause blood clots and heart failure. According to Xbox, books could be behind the rise in cardiac events and strokes. You can't even sit and read. So what chance has poor Henry got as he reads his portions of his autobiography? And unfortunately, he's not back with us yet, but he is coming back to these screens that you see in front of you. I know. The whole thing really is ridiculous. It's a complete nonsense. Why are they coming out with all these ridiculous things like climate change and all that? The weather can be responsible for an alarming increase in strokes. The weather, just bear that in mind, people. The weather is responsible for an alarming increase in strokes. Yes, breathing too fast, breathing too much. Yeah, kids that breathe too fast, that can also cause problems. Yeah. Yep, it sure does. I mean, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. So what's Mr. Hancock saying? Well, the Bembridge has tweeted here. Hancock said he was making a substantial donation to charity out of his I'm a Celeb fee. So he gave away 10k. Substantial to me, but he kept 320,000. I mean, we know why he did it, because he needed the money to pay off his wife. But so he really is an obnoxious, horrible, slimy character, isn't he? I mean, what would you do with it? What would you do with it? And I'm only using that as a rhetorical question. I'm not expecting answers, please, and certainly don't act on them like the guy on the tube. And we're at the midpoint, as you can see. So moving on. Then Dagny Taggart. We're a bit ahead of time for the midpoint. Maybe we need to slow down. That's because Ben isn't interrupting me and going off on rants. So anyway, Dagny Taggart says the Turkish Parliament will not ratify the protocol on the membership of Sweden and Finland in NATO under the current conditions, says the Turkish Foreign Minister. Now, this is quite good, because all it seems you need to do to avoid joining NATO is rile up Turkey by, for instance, burning the Quran. So once you start riling up Turkey, they just go, no, you're not coming into NATO. So I don't think the people of Sweden and Finland are terribly keen on joining NATO, because to be honest, they're right beside Russia, and they really don't want to get involved in any kind of war between Russia and NATO. So I don't think the people are that keen, but the hierarchy probably are, because they've been told to be. But it would appear that if you just wind up Turkey, they're going to keep vetoing your membership, which is a good thing. I think that's a good thing. I endorse this behaviour, Sweden and Finland. Right, moving on. Uncle Joe. Now, Uncle Joe has said he's not going to send F-16 jets to Zelensky, i.e. Ukraine. Now, you got to remember, Uncle Joe said, we won't be sending tanks to Ukraine. That's like starting World War III. What are they doing? Well, they say they're sending tanks to Ukraine, but the United States will not be able to deliver Abrams tanks to Ukraine until the end of this year, and that's this year, 2023. Will there still be a Ukraine in 2024? Will there? Yeah. We'll see. It's really becoming tiresome now, isn't it, Ukraine? It's like, and when I say that, I don't mean to denigrate the people that are there fighting either side, for what they believe in or what they don't believe in. But, it's like, why is the West so invested in it? Why is the West throwing so much at it? Why is it costing the West so much, both in terms of equipment they want to get rid of, but also in terms of sanctions, because the sanctions aren't hurting Russia. I mean, the IMF report, Russia's doing way better than expected. and the UK and Europe are not. So the problem is sanctions don't work in the way that they think they do. And they're not really harming Russia, because Russia's just expanding its markets into China and Iran and Brazil. They're hanging out with their pals in BRICS, which is what we expected anyway. And remember, on Monday, Russia and Iran have tied up their banks now, so they can transfer funds between each other seamlessly without the use of the SWIFT system. So they're starting, BRICS is going to end up with its own banking system, and we'll be tied out of it. So we won't be doing proper transactions with China, Russia, India, probably India as well, South Africa and Brazil. These are all big developing nations. So, yeah, Russia has an incredible amount of resources. I think it's got more natural gas in the world than all the other nations put together. It has an incredible amount of rare earth minerals. It's got iron ore, it's got uranium, it's got absolutely everything. It's got oil, it's got everything it needs. Everything it needs. So, America, on the other hand, doesn't quite have everything it needs. But if it doesn't, what does it do? It goes and takes it from another country, doesn't it? Because did you know that America occupies a third of Syria at the moment? And the third of Syria that it occupies is the third with the oil in it? Funny that. Did you know that America is helping Saudi Arabia to bomb Yemen? Because Saudi Arabia supplies America with what? Funny that. America is a pretty corrupt nation when it comes to empire, because that's a modern day empire. And if you don't follow America's way, if you don't trade with America properly, you end up getting the freedom installed. And it's just unfortunate, but that's the way it happens in this world as it stands right now. But the problem you've got is you have big economic powerhouses now like China, which are coming to challenge America economically. And I don't see them. I've kind of backed off a little on, I kind of still think China does want to see boots on the ground in America, but I'm not sure they're going to do it. But I think they will take Taiwan at some point. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. So, anyway, did we do that slide? No, we didn't. So the president of Croatia seems to be speaking truth to power, perhaps. The president of Croatia says it is mad to think that Russia can be defeated and slammed his NATO allies for supplying Ukraine with heavy tanks and other weapons that only cause more death. Yeah, I mean, he's bang on there. The problem is, it's very, very unlikely you're going to defeat Russia on its own doorstep. It doesn't appear to have any pretensions of moving into Europe, which would extend its supply lines. So, there's nothing to stop what they're doing just now. You're not going to stop Russia grinding away at Ukraine, and that's basically what they're doing. They're just turning it into a meat grinder, and it's how the Russian machine works. It just grinds up everything. They'll pull them into conflict, and then the Russians will stand back and blast them with artillery until they then go back in and mop up all the pieces. That's the way they do it. So that's Russia. And Russia's got the patience to do that. They'll just keep grinding away. So all you do by giving Ukraine weapons, especially in the pitiful amounts that we're giving them, I mean, if you think 14 tanks is going to make a difference, if you think 30 Abrams tanks is going to make a difference. Now remember, Ukraine had close to 3,000 tanks at the start of this conflict. And they were equivalent tanks. I mean, they might not have been quite up to the top of the range Russian ones, but they were Soviet-era tanks. So they were like T-72s and T-80s and things. So they're not bad tanks. But where are they? Where are they? So why is Ukraine so desperate to get its hand on Leopard 2s and Abrams? I don't think the Western countries are putting these tanks out for anything other than to test them against Russia and see how they do. Why else would you send 14 tanks? That's what the UK is sending. 14 tanks. I mean, 14 tanks. Really? That's ridiculous. I mean, say that out loud, people. We're sending them 14 tanks. They're facing 15,000 and we're sending them 14. Yeah. It boggles the mind. What are we thinking? It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's not funny, but it's not funny, but it's funny. Now, moving on to a more serious topic. Have you heard about the war in Peshawar? The big bombing and the big bomb blast that's killed over 59 people? Huh? So Pakistan and India are having, they've always had border conflicts. But, I mean, it's like, I didn't hear anything of this on the news. Nothing at all. And yet, 59 people dead. And look at the state of the place. That wasn't just one guy with a vest on, Oh. Oof. It's hard talking all the time. I don't know how Ben does. Speaking of Saudi Arabia and Putin! Apparently Putin and the Saudi Arabian prince are having stronger ties and working on cooperation in OPEC. That's quite interesting because, OPEC's the effectively the oil cartel that sets the price for oil. So if Russia's going to be part of that, then you won't be able to downgrade the price of Russian oil because OPEC set the price. Not daft, is he? Is he? Not as daft as you might think. So this is what I was alluding to earlier. Ian Miles Chung, I think, came up with this, that if you private your account, you seem to get better reach. And our good friend Ben, may the good Lord rest his soul, our good friend Ben tried this out yesterday. I think he privated his account, and apparently his reach did appear to increase. And then Mr. Musk has done the same thing. And he's now said, he's now come across and said, yes, something appears to be wrong. So Musk has accepted that there's something wrong and something needs fixed. So we need to we need to trust that he's going to fix it. I'm still not convinced. I mean, I can't even post a video in a private DM group. I don't understand that. Yeah, if your account's private, you can't retweet. Yeah, we know that. But you get better reach, so more people see it. So, I mean, if someone doesn't see, this is what I don't understand. Why can't you retweet? I can't say tweet today. Why can't you retweet something that someone's privated? Because all you do is take a screenshot and then tweet it out. So it's not as if they get anonymity or you know, they don't even get any privacy. In fact, it's probably worse because you're taking screenshots of the stuff. So it's probably going to be kept there forever. It's not as if you could go and delete it and then the link would disappear, because that screenshot's going to be there forever. So why? Why? Stupid. Don't understand it. Don't understand the point. Don't understand the point of people that don't want their stuff retweeted, because I thought the whole thing was about reach and reaching as many people as you could. So why would people do that? I don't understand it. If I'm missing something, please inform me. Please inform me. The CDC have come out with billing codes. Now, this is how. So the American medical system has all these billing codes because, you know, it's run as a for-profit organisation. It's all controlled by insurance, and the doctors will bill, you know, with all these different codes so that they can work out the bill, and the insurance companies can say, yeah, that's an acceptable code, and, you know, pay the amount that it's due. So the CDC have created billing codes for doctors to keep track of people who refuse to take a COVID treatment. That's interesting. And why should these codes? Why should we need to take notice of people who have refused to take a medical treatment? I mean, do we take notice of people that refuse to take, you know, like athlete's foot powder if they've got athlete's feet? Do we take notes of people who refuse to go to the dentist if they've got toothache? Yeah. I mean, what's the difference? What is the difference? And it's not as if it's a terribly deadly disease, is it? It's not like, you know, it's not like catching Ebola and then someone spitting on you, you know? What can you say? It's just ridiculous. Ridiculous. We are going to finish early, aren't we? I should have had more slides on 33. 33. I do like a laugh. I do. Speaking of laughs. I shouldn't really, but I'm going to read this out. A Muslim businessman has claimed that he was given pork while in the custody of the police, despite it being against his religion to eat such products. Rahim Hussein was being held on suspicion of being drunk and disorderly in a public place and criminal damage. Now, just a point, Rahim. Isn't it against your religion to consume alcohol? I think you'll find it is. So, I'm sorry, but your complaint is now falling on deaf ears, because you can't be selective in your religion, surely. Not in a religion that's so prescriptive that it tells you what you should drink or shouldn't drink. What's the... Ben, get off. What the fuck? What are you doing? He's got to get involved somehow, hasn't he? So he's got to get in there and fucking annoy me and throw everything off. Thanks, Ben. Fucking knobber. I can't hear you. Oh, Jesus Christ. Right, what you wanting? Thanks a fucking lot. Don't go off now because I had to cancel the third wheel. So the slides will all be off now if you come out. So you'll need to stay on. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. What do you want me to say? Wait, what's up with you? Your big pawns. Okay. Yes, I can see that. So you're not dead. He's not dead, people. He's not dead. Oh, you can't hear Ben because the desktop audio's not on. That's what. Well, I'd not need to turn desktop audio on because you weren't fucking here, were you? Well, I don't know if he's getting his hair and nails done. He certainly needs to get something done. Look at the stadium.
Look at the stadium, yeah.
This isn't normally how you see him. I mean, it does show you people that, you know, when you go out on a date with someone, that's not necessarily what you're going to get.
Right, so yeah, a couple things.
It does. He looks like Richard D. Hall. I think Richard D. Hall's better look. Sorry, carry on. Right, a couple of things, Ben. A couple of things. What is it, mate?
So they didn't hear what I said. Yeah, I threw me back, and
Yeah,
I've been stuck on the couch since 6 a.m. and I'm just sitting out here in the kitchen. I thought I'd come and say hello to John and give him some extra time to pad him out.
Yeah, thank you.
Because he said I'm about to finish.
No, I didn't say I was about to finish. I said I was probably going to finish early. That happens.
Why?
It happens when you go through the slides on your own. You know that.
I also wanted to congratulate you because you did very well. Very well.
I'm not finished, but Trudy says she feels like we've been catfished. At least they put his teeth in, Trudy. I mean, it could have been worse.
Oh, dear. Fuck off.
Oh, God, I'm looking good today, aren't I? Anyway, thanks, Ben, for coming on and making me look so good.
You're certainly the attractive one today, John.
Yeah, let's talk about Jay Leno. Right, so do you remember he had a car crash and burnt himself and all that, or he burnt himself at the barbecue. I mean, the guy's a walking disaster zone. So now we're like,
he's old.
Yeah, but what's he doing? He get knocked off his Harley by being clotheslined. Do you know what that means?
I do.
He was riding across a car park and ran into a fucking wire that was strung across it. I mean, the guy's obviously a liability. He needs to stop this.
Well, it's not just him, is it? I mean, when Harrison Ford was filming Star Wars The Force Awakens, he crashed his plane on a golf course.
Yeah, that's true.
These old Americans are...
they're a liability.
They're a liability.
So
Absolutely they are.
So he's got a broken collarbone, 2 broken ribs, and 2 cracked kneecaps. That's gonna hurt in the morning.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Right.
Yeah.
I haven't put out the papers today, have I?
No, you didn't. You didn't put the papers out.
So ask the chat, do they want to see today's papers?
Do you want to see today's papers, or do you want to see tomorrow's papers tomorrow?
Oh no, they can have both.
You can have today's papers today, but
there is a but.
They're going to be late. What's the but?
They're going to be live at 8 p.m.
Live? Oh no, they're not going live. No, you can't go live. Remember?
Be a
no, you can't go live. Remember what we talked about?
I do.
You can't go live because then you'll interfere with this stream.
The show will be around about 9 p.m.
No, it can't. It can't. You can't go
not
live. You can put out a video.
Not live.
Not live.
I'll film it as if it is live, and then I'll troll them all so they think that I'm live.
Yeah.
And really, I'm not.
Belladonna says they're old now. And Beats Crate says, yes, they do. And Adam says, don't mess with the schedule.
There's a schedule.
Of course, there's
We
a schedule.
schedule.
We do
We schedule this shit.
Trudy says, John said, no. No.
You know what?
What, Ben? I think just do the papers tomorrow, mate. I think just take the day. Look, your body's obviously telling you that you need to take a break. So take the break, relax.
I've taken a fantastic amount of painkillers.
Yep. So relax and do not take any more painkillers, right? Just take the time and recover and come back refreshed and revitalized tomorrow. That's what I would advise.
This is giving them a good look at how much work goes into all of this before a show.
Yeah, they have commented on it, mate. They have commented. What?
I mean, it's a lot of work, people. It's a lot of work, right? And I feel him. I feel him.
Trudy has said, right? Trudy has said, you look like shit, Ben. Rest up and get better. Anyway, speaking of looking like shit, so we're on to the funny section now. But rapist,
I can see them behind you.
Yeah, rapist who claimed evidence against him was witchcraft is jailed.
Witchcraft.
Now, you might think this happened in deepest Africa, but no. Peterborough man claimed the evidence that he was a rapist was witchcraft. So it must have been good, powerful witchcraft because he's in the jail.
Witchcraft?
What?
Juju witchcraft.
Yeah, but he's in the jail, so it was powerful witchcraft indeed.
Powerful witchcraft got in the jail.
Yeah. So that's just ridiculous. I mean, what?
I'm assuming he also thinks it's witchcraft that the video appeared of Tyree Nichols being kicked. That's also witchcraft in this guy's
possibly
mentality, right?
He probably thinks you steal his soul when you take his photo.
His soul.
What?
His soul.
Do you think he's got a soul?
Do you think any of us have got a soul?
I don't know. Possibly. I mean, we're now going to get all existential, aren't we?
So let's not get existential, and let's just answer that question now.
Mind or consciousness? I mean, is there a difference? So you've got to think about it, and the question is your brain your center of consciousness, or is your brain your receiver of consciousness? Because what happens to the TV when it breaks, right? The program is still running, but the TV's just not picking it up.
What happens if a tree falls in a forest and nobody's around to hear it, John?
Well, the tree falls in the forest and nobody's around
Does
to
it
hear
make a sound?
Oh, yeah, you didn't ask that.
Does it make a sound, John?
Oh, if you're there, yeah, it does. If you're not, then who can tell?
Who can tell?
But anyway, but that really doesn't answer the question I was posing, which is your brain the center of consciousness, or is it the receiver of consciousness? Now, there's one for you to ponder while you're waiting on the next gem of wisdom from Chasing Dissent. I didn't know where to put this in the funnies or not. So it's from the gift that keeps on giving, which is obviously the New York Post. I'm an ex-banker, genderless dragon, close comma. Now my son won't talk to me. Can you freaking blame him?
Nope, I'm out. That's it.
Can you blame him? That's just crazy, isn't it? I mean, what would you do with
Genderless dragon.
a genderless dragon?
A genderless dragon.
Yeah, genderless dragon. What would you do with it? What would you do with it? Oh, anyway, right. And this probably shouldn't be in the funnies either, but it's ironic more than funny. So
right.
It's not a joke. One-eyed seal swims into lake, right? Feasts on 4K's worth of anglers' carp.
I saw this.
Locals flock to view. Fishery owner receives death threats because obviously he wants rid of the seal. right? And it's eating all these profits. Marine life rescue divers seek to dart it. It drowns.
I mean, it's another Freya the Walrus, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? An injured seal that made an Essex fishing lake its home for 7 weeks after swimming miles upriver from the North Sea has been killed by a failed rescue attempt. Yeah. So, there you go. I mean, what can you say about that? Really, it's pretty sad.
It's pretty sad. Pretty sad.
So here's David Lammy. What did David Lammy say?
I have
David
no idea.
Lammy said, because of the ULEZ extension and all that, tradesmen should use the tube. And then we have
okay, let's say I'm a carpenter. I'm a carpenter.
Then we have a picture here. Has he seen the inside of your average tradesman's van? So, how do you take all that in the tube, Lammy? You absolute pillock. Absolute pillock.
The ULEZ extension is a crime as far as I'm concerned. I mean, they had all of the public consultations. I think more than 60% were against it.
That's correct.
It's obviously something the public don't want. And whilst it's kind of funny what Lammy has said, you have to remember, people, and I said it in the chat earlier, these people are your elected representatives. They are not your masters. And you need to remind them of that. You need to start putting them in their place. And their place is to represent your interests. If they don't want to do that, then they can fuck right off. And I'm sorry for swearing.
Yeah, you're always telling me not to swear.
Yeah, well, I think that sometimes it's appropriate, John.
Okay. Right. So check this guy out. This is the head of the NATO Military Committee, Admiral Rob Bauer. He looks terrified. He looks terrified. NATO is ready for a direct confrontation with Russia. No, we're not. But the alliance must rearm. So either they're ready or they're not ready. So what he's saying is they're not ready for a direct confrontation with Russia because they must rearm. So make your mind up and don't look so terrified.
That's basically telling Russia, yeah, we can't beat you right now.
Yeah.
We don't have the arms for it. That's what he's saying.
They can't beat them. They can't. NATO's a failed force. It really is. It's a joke. Now, this is a good one. AP have now descended to the level of comedy.
Okay, the Associated Press here.
Yep, Associated Press style book. So we recommend avoiding general and often dehumanizing the labels, such as the poor, the mentally ill, the French, the disabled, the college educated. Right, okay, there's a few...
I understand, you know,
I can understand. I can understand all of them except the college educated. How's that dehumanizing? Because
what they're trying to get to is it creates a class divide.
Yeah, I know what they're trying to do. Instead, use wording such as people with mental illnesses and use those descriptions only when clearly relevant. Okay? And then go on to clarify the use of the French in this tweet by Associated Press was inappropriate and has caused unintended offence. Oh, to whom? To the French, perhaps?
The French. Oui.
An updated tweet is upcoming.
Merci. You have insulted us, French people, Associated Press.
And
merci.
Never under any circumstances, right? Call them cheese-eating surrender monkeys.
Hey, John.
Yeah, Ben.
I'm doing this for Vaughan, right?
Oh, what are you going to do, mate?
Say purple burglar alarm.
Peter, piss off. So, our 6-year-old handed us a note. His teacher had called my wife and I in for an emergency meeting. We asked our son if he had any idea why, and he said she didn't like a drawing I did. We went in the next day. His teacher pulled the drawing below out and said I asked him to draw his family, and he drew this. Would you mind explaining? Not at all, my wife said. family vacation, snorkeling off the Bahamas. I just thought that was a little bit humorous. A little bit, perhaps. Perhaps not. And to finish it off, this guy is going to hell. Smile when you get it.
I can't see the picture.
Okay.
You'll have to describe it to me.
Well, the guy's there holding a cone.
Right, I can't see it.
An ice cream cone. But it doesn't have ice cream in it. It's got a fat bird. That looks like ice cream. Natasha has spotted it. He is holding it at the wrong angle, I know. I should have tilted it slightly. But yeah, he is going to hell. So anyway, there we go. So thank you, Ben, for attending this this production of Chasing Dissent Live. And
I hope people have enjoyed it, and I apologise for not being my normal self. But everybody, give a like and congratulate John and tell him just how well he did. Because I tell you what, I was enjoying every minute of that. I was in the chat there. I was engaging. You did a great job, John.
Thank you, Ben. And I'd like to thank everyone that's attended this episode 195 of Chasing Dissent Live with me, John, and Ben. It's been great for you.
For you. Fucking hell.
Riding on the pavement, young kids they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation. Too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah.